good morning friends. In this video, we will be discussing why the Indian rupee fell 10% against the US dollar in 2022. So the topics which we are going to cover: how did the Indian rupee perform in 2022? What is a greenback? Performance of other Asian countries' currencies. What was the reason for the capital outflows? Outlook on the Indian rupee for 2023, and last one is the Union Budget 2023. The Indian rupee depreciated by around 10% against the US dollar in 2022 on account of sharp appreciation of greenback. तो ये greenback क्या होता है? It's a slang term for the US dollar. It's a slang term for the US dollar. So the Indian rupee depreciated. Depreciation का मतलब क्या होता है? वैल्यू कम होना, और एप्रिसिएशन का मतलब होता है वैल्यू बढ़ना. The Indian rupee depreciated by around 10% against the US dollar in 2022 on account of sharp appreciation of greenback. The US Federal Reserve tightened its interest rate to check inflation. तो ये बहुत important statement है. तो यूएस का जो आरबीआई है, रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया, इंडिया में जैसे आरबीआई होता है वैसे यूएस में फेडरल रिजर्व कहा जाता है. सो द यूएस फेडरल रिजर्व टाइटन इट्स इंटरेस्ट रेट टू चेक इन्फ्लेशन. इट इज अमीड द अनसर्टेनिटीज सराउंडिंग द रशिया यूक्रेन कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स. In many ways, 2022 was a tumultuous year. It was because Russian invasion of Ukraine, central banks raising rates aggressively to tackle inflation, the horrific wave of pandemic that is now unfolding in China. The economic fallout of these events has been severe. तो इसके जो परिणाम होने वाले हैं वो बहुत सेवर होने वाले हैं. तो अभी हमने देखा ग्रीनबैक, एक टर्म हमने पढ़ी ग्रीनबैक. सो व्हाट इज अ ग्रीनबैक? Greenback is a slang term for the US dollars. The term originated during the mid 1860s when these notes were printed in green inks. The first greenbacks were printed to finance the Civil War and were called as a such because their backs were printed in green. How did the Indian rupee perform in 2022? The Indian rupee was the worst performing Asian currency in 2022. It has witnessed a fall of around 10% against the greenback. This decline was mainly on account of appreciation in the US currency on safe haven amid the fear of recession and inflation across the many parts of the world and Russia-Ukraine war. तो यहाँ पे जो यूएस की करेंसी है उसका एप्रिसिएशन हुआ, और उसका एप्रिसिएशन क्यों हुआ? इट इज़ बिकॉज ऑफ फियर ऑफ रिसेशन एंड इन्फ्लेशन अक्रॉस द मेनी पार्ट्स ऑफ द वर्ल्ड एंड रशिया यूक्रेन वॉर. ड्यूरिंग द ईयर द इंडियन रूपी फेल टू अ लाइफ टाइम लो ऑफ 83.2 अगेंस्ट द डॉलर. मतलब $1 की वैल्यू एट द एंड ऑफ द ईयर was 83.2. During the year, the Indian rupee fell to a lifetime low of 83.2 against the dollar. Compared to rupee, depreciation of other Asian currencies was to a lesser extent. मतलब जितना depreciation इंडियन करेंसी का हुआ उतना अदर जो एशियन करेंसीज है उनका नहीं हुआ था. The performance of other Asian currencies during the year: Chinese yuan, Philippines peso, Indonesian rupiah fell around 9%. इंडिया का जो करेंसी है रुपी उसका डिप्रिसिएशन 10% हुआ था, बट चाइना, फिलीपींस और इंडोनेशिया का डिप्रिसिएशन ओनली 9% हुआ था. नाउ टॉकिंग अबाउट साउथ कोरिया एंड मलेशिया, साउथ कोरियन युआन, साउथ कोरियन वोन एंड मलेशियन रिंगिट डिक्लाइंड बाय नियरली 7% and 6% respectively. However, the Reserve Bank of India heavily intervened in the forex market to defend rupee. तो ये forex market क्या होता है? It's a global market for the exchanging the national currencies. It's a global market for exchanging national currencies. However, the Reserve Bank of India heavily intervened in the forex market to defend rupiah. Since the beginning of 2022, the country's forex exchange reserves has fallen by $70 billion. It stood at $562.81 billion as of December 23, 2022. The latest RBI data showed. Navneet Damani is a senior vice president, currency and commodity, Motilal Oswal Finance Services. In his opinion, reserves have witnessed a big erosion, but the central bank is now starting again to build up its reserves, and that would act as a buffer in times of uncertainty. What was the reason for the capital outflow? The US Fed aggressively raised interest rates by 425 basic points in 2022 in its fight against inflation. This led to a higher interest rate differential between US and India. This led to a higher interest rate differential. Higher interest rate differential between US and India. As a result, the investors pulled out money from the domestic market and started investing in the US market to tackle advantage of higher rates. In 2022, foreign portfolio investors, that is FPIs, foreign portfolio investors मतलब जो भी स्टॉक मार्केट या करेंसी मार्केट में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं उन्हें कहा जाता है, जो फॉरेनर्स होते हैं जो अदर देन इंडिया हो गए उन्हें कहा जाता है फॉरेन पोर्टफोलियो इन्वेस्टर्स. In 2022, foreign portfolio investors pulled out 1.34 lakh crore from Indian market. It was the highest ever yearly net outflow. The withdrawal of 1.21 lakh crore from the stock market and 16,682 crore from the debt market in 2022. All this resulted putting pressure on the rupee. Russian invasion of Ukraine accentuated the FPI's withdrawal with the global economic slowdown, making the inflow tougher, analysts said. Looking on the Indian rupee for 2023, outlook on the Indian rupee for 2022. According to Forex analyst, Forex का क्या मतलब हमने देखा? Global marketplace. It's a global marketplace for exchanging national currencies. According to Forex analyst, although the outlook on the Indian rupee remain big in near future, the depreciation in local currency may not continue for a longer period as India remains the fast growing economy. The terminal interest rate for the US Fed is anybody's guess, but it cannot be the case that their monetary policy will be tightened endlessly. When the US Fed tightening is over, the tide will surely turn. Reserve Bank of India Governor Shashikant Das said during the December monetary policy announcement. Thank you very much.